Hello, everyone. Welcome to 2D Board Gamers. My name is Dave,
I'm Dirk.
and today we're going to do something slightly different. We're going to do the Deadpool Hero review, but we're also going to talk about the pool aspect because Deadpool was the hero to come with the fifth, or as far as we're concerned, the sixth aspect,
Yep, that's right.
the pool aspect. So we'll go over those cards, um, and but we'll also do the Deadpool's kit cards and a few cards that we think are good with him. All right. So first of all, let's look at the alter ego. Wade Wilson. He's got a hand size of 6, 9 hit points, 8 recovery. He's a mercenary and he's a mutant with an asterisk.
He's a mercenary with a mouth.
So he breaks the fourth wall action. Discard a card from your hand. Search your deck for a Deadpool event and add it to your hand. Limit once per round. And the asterisk is sometimes I'm a mutant, sometimes I'm not. Depends on who you ask.
Okay.
And then on the hero side,
All right. So on the hero side, I like this one better. We're gonna do that one.
okay.
On the hero side, he's got five hand size of 5, but he has 200 attack and 100 defense. Wait a minute. Oh, there's an asterisk. Ignore the zeros. So he's a 2-2-1. But no, I like this. Is this one the original one or a promo? I don't remember which one.
That's the original.
That's the original one. Okay. Yeah, I like that one. But he's got the regeneration degenerate. So it's a forced interrupt that whenever you would be defeated, instead you set your hit points dial to 0, change to alter ego form, and add 1 acceleration token to the main scheme. So he can be very difficult to kill. Now, however, he definitely can be killed because I have seen what was the what was that? It was a Rhino. What's he called? No, the unstoppable. No, the unstoppable Juggernaut. But yeah, the advanced one or whatever. I've seen that guy take him out turn 1 before, so he can definitely be defeated.
Yeah, anybody who can attack you even in your alter ego
Yeah.
could kill you off. So there's a couple of those cards that says blah 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 attacks even if you're an alter ego.
So yeah. So yes, he can still die, but he is harder to kill than the average hero. So yep. So that's what we're looking at there, and then
Okay.
they still sort through the
Yeah,
cards.
I just got yeah, we forgot to put these in numerical order here. All right.
I didn't realize you actually did that.
Okay. So his signature ally is Cable.
No, it's his BFF, his
It's
best bud,
yeah, his BBB, my best bud.
MBB.
MBB. So he's got a 1 thwart with an asterisk, 2 attack with an asterisk, 3 hit points, psionic, X force. Cable gets +1 thwart and +1 attack for each acceleration token on the main scheme to a maximum of +3 thwart and +3 attack. And as we indicated, you can die and you put an acceleration token. So, you're going to get a lot of extra acceleration tokens. Cable can at least utilize 3 of them.
Yeah, and if you haven't actually seen the Deadpool hero yet or played a game with somebody that's using him, he's got additional ways that can add additional acceleration tokens to speed that up a little bit.
Like this card.
Oh yeah, that's right. So exhaust personality. So it's a 0 cost event. As a hero action, you can choose to either place an acceleration token. Hey, there you go, on the main scheme, and then you can stun and confuse the villain, or you can exhaust a player identity, and that player draws 1 card for each acceleration token on the main scheme. So if you put a few on there already, don't necessarily feel like doing more, you can get a few cards out of it.
All right. Next, we got 2 copies of Maximum Effort. It's a 0 cost attack event. Take any amount of damage up to your remaining hit points. Deal an equal amount of damage to an enemy.
So if it's not this artwork in particular, I've got very similar artwork on a Deadpool t-shirt of mine. I think it actually might be that artwork, but if not, it's really close. All right, then we've got Meta Knowledge. It's a 1 cost event. As a hero interruption, you can, when an encounter card is revealed, you can cancel all of its effects and you can discard it. And then you take 1 damage for each icon on it. So that is acceleration or boost. So.
Yep. All right. Then his thwart event is he's got 2 copies. It's called
Yoo-hoo.
Take any amount of damage up to your remaining hit points. Remove an equal amount of threat from a scheme. So he's taking damage to do a bunch of thwart, just like his other one, where you could take a bunch of damage to do damage.
All right, then he has got montage here. So it
montage.
montage, same thing.
No. Continue.
I don't remember
It's
this.
not a potato thing.
So it generates a wild or one additional wild resource for each acceleration token on the main scheme, up to 3. So again, it kind of hits the cap limit of 3 on as far as the benefit, but that doesn't mean you have to stop at 3.
Right. Then we have the chimichanga truck, or chimichanga as Dirk would pronounce it, apparently.
Tacos! It's the taco truck.
Yeah. It's a 2-cost support. It's a location response. After an identity makes a basic recovery, exhaust chimichanga truck and ready that identity.
And that's any identity. It does not have to be Deadpool or Wade. You can do that. We've used that in other games to where everybody takes a place in line at the truck. Then we've got Armed to the Teeth here. It's a 2-cost upgrade. So as a response, after you play Armed to the Teeth, you can search your collection. So anywhere in your collection for a weapon upgrade from any aspect and attach it to your face down. And then as an action, you can exhaust the Armed to the Teeth, take that weapon card and swap it with the so you take an upgrade and swap it with that weapon. That's what I said. That's what I meant to say. Yes.
Yeah. So like you could do Yarbjorn, or you could do like an upgrade for an ally or something that that's not from the
Yeah, you could throw an upgrade in there, like anything. If you've got multiple copies of an upgrade and you don't need the second one now because you're playing solo, you could use that, or you could throw one in there like cell phone that that you just to get rid of.
That's
later.
not a weapon.
Oh, it doesn't have to be a weapon.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Okay.
All right. And
We use the card.
here's a weapon. So he's got 2 copies of Deadpool's katana. It's a 2-cost upgrade. It's a weapon, restricted. Hero action: exhaust Deadpool's katana and take 1 damage. Deal 2 damage to an enemy. This attack gains piercing. So you got 2 copies of that.
All right, then he's got If It Ain't Over. It's a 1-cost upgrade, so you can attach it to the main scheme, and then you increase the target value of the main scheme for 2, or by 2 for each acceleration token on it. So it works similar to well, we call it the van. What's the actual name of the card?
Under surveillance.
Under Surveillance. So it works like Under Surveillance in that it increases how many threat are on the main scheme before it can pop, but this does it based on the number of acceleration tokens.
Right. And then, ouch. This card is fire.
This card is on fire.
It's just this card is fire. 3-cost event.
Sticking with what I said.
Force response. After your turn ends, if this card is in your hand, take a damage. And then as a hero action, you can deal X damage to an enemy. X is the amount of damage you have sustained. So this is a great combo with the thwart and the attack card that we saw earlier, where you say bring yourself down to 1 hit point, and then and you did your damage or your thwart from that, and then you could turn around and said, hey, I took 10 damage, so now I can do 10 damage to the villain.
Yeah, and what I think is one of the coolest design aspects of this card is the way that they made it to where if you want to take a couple before you do that, all you gotta do is just hold the card in your hand for a couple of turns, and it actually gives you a benefit if that is the purpose. I mean, it would be considered a negative for most, but in his case, it actually could be considered a positive.
Okay,
So,
and during this X-Force wave, and probably from now on, we're going to be looking at the Nemesis and the obligations, because they're really
thematic.
Yeah, really thematic. So this one is Dirk's worst nightmare, the Merc with the Mouth. You give to the Wade Wilson player, exhaust each ally you control. Allies you control cannot ready. Other players cannot resolve player card abilities during your turn, so you have no call for an actions. Force response.
Well, because you can't talk.
That's because of the next paragraph. Yeah, force response. After the player phase ends, if you have not talked this phase, you can discard. Discard, of course, not removed from the game. So
because his mouth is always going to get him in trouble.
Yeah, so you can't call for an action. You can't do any of that kind of stuff. Oop, that is not his. Nemesis. These are
all right. Then we've got Butler. So Butler is his nemesis. He's a scientist. He's 2 scheme, 1 attack. But as a forced interrupt, when he schemes, you place a threat on involuntary procedure. Fable. What? If able. Okay. Oh wow. Place it on there if able, and as a boost, you're confused. Right. And there's involuntary procedure.
Yeah. So involuntary procedures is the side scheme. It's got 6 threat on it. It's got a hazard icon. After Deadpool takes any amount of damage, place 1 threat here. Then, if there's 10 or more threat here, remove this card from the game. So this is one you can pretty much wipe out. Well, no, I mean, you can add a lot. So if this is out and you want to, you know, take a bunch of damage for this card is fired, then you're really gonna
Yeah.
you're gonna increase this.
So normally you're like, well, why would you ever want to get rid of the side scheme by adding to it or whatever? I mean, how does that benefit you? Other than, I mean, you're getting rid of it, but the thing is, he actually doesn't necessarily want to get rid of it because of hold on, hazard.
Yeah,
Because of the hazard symbol. I got it.
yeah. When you're when we get to the pools, you'll see but the pools like to have the symbols.
They like to have
Deadpool himself doesn't necessarily care,
right?
But
his aspect does.
Yeah. All right.
So then we've got Tabarasa 16. So you attach this to your identity, and you treat your identity's printed text box as if it were blank, except for the traits. So you still get to keep your traits, so you can still use cards that mention them or that utilize them, but that's the only thing that you get to keep. As an alter ego action, you can spend 2 mental resources to discard the card, but as a boost, you still attach to your identity. So this one, you're getting it if it comes out, period.
Okay. And then the last 2 cards, we have 2 minions. Mutated Soldier, 1 scheme, 2 attack. Both have an asterisk, 5 hit points. Mutate Soldier has toughness. Force response. After Mutated Soldier activates, heal all damage from it.
So, yeah, so that's one of these. It's like you pretty much got to take them out in one shot because or either that or in one phase, because if you allow them to survive the phase, they're going to activate against you and they're going to heal back up. So
all right. So now let's go take a look at some cards that we think are good for Deadpool.
Of course, Deadpool being a mutant, Moira. Moira is good for any mutant character because you can only play it whenever you're a mutant, but anytime a mutant alter ego flips up to hero form, they get to draw a card. Or not anytime, once per turn. So she does have to exhaust to do it, but it allows you to draw a card whenever you're coming up. Of course, iPack is great for any X-Force player. It's one of my favorite cards in the game because I love the card advantage it gives. You do take an encounter card for it, but you exhaust it. Choose a player. That player draws an encounter card, and then they get to draw 2 cards. So I love the card advantage there. But one thing we noticed is Deadpool's got some cards. If he can take a lot of damage, then he can do damage or thwart up to his maximum hit points. So, of course, there's a couple of ways here to increase your hit points. Here, your maximum hit points, you've got Endurance, which increases it by 3. All classic card. It's been what, was that the first expansion, or did that come in the basic game?
That came with Ms. Marvel.
Came with Ms. Marvel. Okay.
So one of the first heroes.
Yeah, so it's been around for a long time in the game. And the symbiote suit, of course. The symbiote suit, not only does it give you the extra 10 hit points and an extra card, but it gives you the extra hazard symbol. So that will play into I'm basically, it works for Deadpool because of the extra 10 hit points. It works for anybody playing the pool aspect because of the hazard symbol.
Yeah.
So those are good ones there. I also thought because his katanas, they deal a point of damage to you to deal 2, and you have to exhaust them. But if you don't need to take that extra damage or whatever, you've got Fusillade, which instead you can exhaust a weapon and deal 5 damage to an enemy. So it can get a little bit of extra damage out of the katanas if you don't need to take that damage.
No, you didn't grab a side holster, did you?
I did not. You would need a side holster to do that because he is restricted, right? Oh, no, Fusillade doesn't require
No, but what I'm saying is if you wanted it, like extra weapons.
Oh, yeah.
Because he comes with 2
Yeah, you could do extra weapons with a side holster. You could, yeah. So, and then what was I looking at here? Oh, yeah, and then the other thing, though, is like Deadpool, he does like to take the damage so that he can turn around and either thwart or attack for more. So a couple of additional ways to basically get him extra damage is if you're playing protection, you've got Taunt here is a great card for that because basically it forces the villain to attack you and nobody else can defend against it, and you're going to get 3 cards out of it. So you're going to get a benefit as well as getting the hit point reduction that you're probably looking for in that case. Another great card, if you're playing Justice, does something similar, is the Great Responsibility. So whenever any kind of threat will be placed on the main scheme, so that's whether it's a thwart, whether it's the beginning of the villain phase, for any way whatsoever, as a hero interrupt, so you do have to be in hero form to do this, but you can take that thwart and transfer it to you as damage, basically. So you get damage out of it and prevent the thwart. Couple of other things you can do here. You've got toe to toe. So it's an aggression card, does something similar. You choose an enemy, they attack you, and then you turn around and deal 5 damage to them. And then the last one I've got here is a little card called Weapon X. So since you can only play this if you're a mutant again, but you can exhaust this and take a point of damage, and you can mill basically for a identity specific card and add that card to your hand. So that can allow you to get to your Deadpool cards a little bit faster, as well as taking a point of damage, which helps increase the damage you can do. So those are kind of some things that I thought, because I kind of like to play that little game with Deadpool, is take as much damage as I can and deal that big swings of damage.
All right. So one last card before we go into the pool aspect, and that's the Frenemies card. It's a team up. So one cost thwart event, team up, Cable and Deadpool, max 1 per deck. Deal 1 damage each to Cable and Deadpool. Remove 3 threat from a scheme and 3 threat from a different scheme. So that's
Yeah, and I really enjoy that one with the Cable hero in the game, because of course he's got the side schemes and he gets benefits for clearing side schemes. So the more you can help get rid of those, the better.
so when you include, when you choose, I should say, when you choose the pool aspect as your aspect, one of the things you have to do
You
is
don't get a choice for this part.
right, but it's only if you choose it as as one of your aspects. So like
Yeah,
Gamora,
yeah.
who can have some events, off aspect events that wouldn't count. But if
But
you
Spider Woman would.
Spider Woman, Adam Warlock, anyone where you choose the pool as your aspect or one of your aspects, then you have to include this Dreadpool deck, which the first card, this card actually is the only card that gets added to the encounter deck in the beginning, and it's kind of like a pool version of Shadows of the
Yeah, it is a pool specific Shadows of the Past.
Right. So this is Crisis of Infinite
And
Deadpools.
Shadows of the Past does not trigger the same way as this, though.
Yeah. So Crisis of Infinite Deadpools is a treachery. When revealed, reveal the set aside Dreadpool minion and Dreadful Deeds side scheme. Shuffle the rest of the set aside Dreadpool encounter set into the encounter deck and remove this card from the game.
So unlike Shadows, this card, once it hits and triggers, it's gone.
Yeah, but it's already done its damage.
But it brings friends.
Yeah, like?
And one of them is Dreadpool himself. Dreadpool is a 2 scheme to attack 3 health minion. He is an elite assassin, and he engages the first player. So he will follow the first player around as he engages the first player. So whenever he is revealed, even if you're not the first player, he will go immediately to the first player. That's what he does. Yes, he doesn't follow them. But you deal him to the player who, when defeated, you deal him to the player who defeated him as a face down encounter card.
Right.
So once he's come out, then he's difficult to get rid of.
He's out for the rest of the game,
yeah,
effectively.
I mean,
because he does not go to the discard pile. So any of those cards that like what we saw in the Black Panther Shuri, the raft, where you can remove a minion, but it's from the discard pile, goes onto the raft. Since he never goes to the discard pile, he becomes a face down encounter card. He's immune to that. You'd have to come up with another way to get rid of him. Yeah,
there are ways, but they're few and far between.
There are ways to discard. Yeah, so if you could discard him somehow, then you don't do the win defeated.
Yeah. So if you get rid of him without defeating him, that's what you have to do.
Yeah. So that's how you can work around it, and then you could use the raft, I guess, too.
But then he'll be back.
Not
not if you use the raft.
Not if you use the raft. Yeah.
So then we have the Dreadpool side scheme is Dreadful Deeds. So when revealed, you place 2 threat here for each player who controls 1 or more pool cards. So if you've got Adam Warlock, you have Spider Woman, and you have another character who has a Dreadpool card, you're going to get an additional 6 threat. But if it's just the one player playing the pool aspect, then you're going to have 4. So I mean, it can, or not, it wouldn't be 6, it'd be 8 on the other one. Yeah. So it can vary a little bit, but that one penalizes you for the number of players that have the aspect.
All right. Then we have an attachment. The anti-regeneration ray gets +1 attack. Attached to Dreadpool, otherwise attached to the villain. When attached character attacks a non-villain character, Treat the attack character's text box as if it were blank, except for traits, until the end of the round, or the end of the attack. Sorry. Hero action: spend one of each of the resources to attach this card to your identity. So this is a way that Deadpool can die, because his text box is blank, and then if the villain or Dreadpool kills him, then he would actually be dead because his text box is blanked out.
Yeah, it's not the only way for him to die, but it's a way for him to die much easier.
Yeah.
All right, then we've got Poolized here. So what Poolized does is it treats the attached ally as a pool minion with a blank text box. So basically, any ally that this gets attached to, they become a minion that's blanked out. So basically, it's similar to the mind control that we saw from the Enchantress earlier in the game. But where did she? What set did she come in?
I don't know what you're talking
The
about. Are you
Enchantress?
talking about
Minion.
Phoenix?
No, the Enchantress, the one who mind controls. Oh,
You're talking. Oh, she was Valkyrie's nemesis.
Valkyries. Okay, yeah. So it acts similar to hers. It takes one of your minions and turns them against you, and you treat the text box as blank. But you attach the attached minion scheme is equal to its thwart, a printed thwart, and it does not take consequential damage. So it turns it into a standard minion with no abilities. And then when this is revealed, though, you attach it to the ally with the highest cost without a poolized attached to it. So this can take, unfortunately, if you got like some really expensive minions out or allies out on the board that, somebody's trying to stick around and, Voltron them or something, it can steal them right there. So,
Okay.
yeah, that one can be heartbreaking to see that one come out.
All right, and then the last card is Metacidal Tendencies. When revealed, deal 2 damage to each Deadpool core character, which almost all the allies from the pool aspect were.
Not all, but almost all.
I said almost all. 3 damage instead if Dreadpool is in play. If no damage was dealt this way, place an acceleration token on the main scheme. So yeah, if you choose not to use the Deadpool core characters, then you're adding an acceleration token. All right. Now let's get to the pool cards.
Are we going through every card?
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be a longer video than I thought.
Yeah, but that's why I didn't want to go too much in the other stuff. All right. So yeah, so this is the pool aspect. So this was the new aspect that came. So this player or this hero pack was about the cost and the size of a scenario pack. Like the Green Goblin or something. So this is the stack of cards for the pool aspect, and we haven't had any pool cards since. I don't know if they'll ever go back to it and do more pools. Maybe if we get a Gwenpool hero or something. I would think it'd be pretty limited on the amount of times that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing some additional pool cards come into the game. I don't necessarily know that we're ever going to see another pool hero, just because I mean, so many of the in the comics, so many of the pool characters were similar.
Yeah.
And so there might be too much similarity
Like
there.
The Deadpool core.
Yeah, they could do it, but I mean, we kind of got a lot of the Deadpool core covered here already. Now they don't. Again, he said Gwenpool. Gwenpool's a big one, so they haven't. She's not in here.
Right.
So
that would be that would be the only hero I can think of off the top of my head that would add.
Well, and I did notice the fact
pile of pool cards
that the pool cards are pink, and that's kind of a color she's known for.
Yeah, that's true.
So I kind of expected her to be in the set whenever I saw the pink borders, but they're not there.
Okay, so the first card is Bob, Agent of Hydra.
I love Bob. Bob's my favorite Hydra agent.
He's a two cost ally, 1 thwart, 1 attack, 2 hit points. He's Hydra traded. Response: after Bob, Agent of Hydra enters play, deal 2 damage to an enemy or remove 1 threat from a scheme, and he comes with an acceleration token. Now, one theme with the pool allies is they don't take consequential damage, but they usually have an icon, one of the bad icons that stays out as long as the ally stays out.
So yeah, depending on whether or not you use their special abilities, use it for blocking or whatever, you could potentially keep them out for the whole game even.
Yeah.
But then we got Dogpool here. Dogpool, he's a good boy. He's a 0 thwart 1 attack, but he does have retaliate and toughness. And when he's defeated, he deals a damage to an enemy.
So he's got retaliate.
I did say
Oh,
retaliate.
did
I
you?
said retaliate and toughness.
No. And an acceleration token. Okay.
Yes.
Then we
I didn't
have
get that far.
Headpool. He's a 3 cost ally, 2 thwart, 1 attack, 1 hit point. Deadpool core zombie. So we're zombie traded.
He's the first zombie, isn't he?
I think he's the only zombie right now. So when we get to Marvel zombies, I guess then we can have a team up.
Oh, that'd be cool.
A-
Yeah.
a
Eventually saw some Marvel zombie heroes.
team building with zombies. All right.
I want to
But
see the Scarlet Witch zombie.
after Headpool attacks and damages a minion, that minion attacks another enemy of your choice. So basically, Headpool gets in the head of an enemy to attack. So you can have the minion attack the villain, and then if the villain has retaliate, maybe kill the minion for you.
Yep. All right, and then we have Kidpool. So Kidpool's a 3-cost ally with 1 thwart and 2 attack. And Kidpool's attacks gain piercing. They got 2 health, but they also again come with an acceleration token.
Okay. Then we got Lady Deadpool. She costs 4, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. When defeated, defeat a non-elite minion, and she's got an amplify token. So this is one that you, when you're ready, you'd want her to die. So you chump block with her and take out an annoying non-elite minion.
The Hydra Flame Soldiers. Those are one of the most annoying non-elites I can think of. All right, and then the first ally in this set that's got their own theme song, Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
And also not a Deadpool core character.
Yeah, she is not. She is an X-Force character, and she's also got the psionic trait. She's 2 thwart, 2 attack, but as an interrupt, when treachery is revealed, you can deal 2 damage to her, and then you can cancel that treachery's 1 revealed effect. And the important part is it does not replace it; it just cancels it outright. So she's a character I love to play when I'm playing the pool aspect, and I will put in first aids to keep her healed up so that I can use her more and more. But then again, she's also got the hazard token.
All right, and then the last ally is Pandapool. 4 costs, 0 thwart, 3 attack, 4 hit points, Deadpool core tough, and a hazard. All right, then we go into the events.
So the first event here we've got is the pool inspection. So it's a 6-cost event. It's a thwart. You've got a maximum of one of these per deck, but as a action, you can remove 5 threat from the scheme, ignoring the crisis icon. So that's an important part about this one. But then you can remove 1 additional threat from each scheme for each negative icon in play. So amplify, acceleration, hazard, and shoot. Yeah, that one.
It's a crisis for you to figure
Crisis. Yes, that's what I meant.
All right. Yeah, and then so this is the more these symbols, the better for this card, but of course, the worse it is for the game in general. So your teammates are complaining, but you're like, hey, I can remove a bunch of threat.
No, my teammates never complain about anything that I do.
One way or another. Oh, all right. So then we have 3 copies of I Got This. It's a 1-cost event, hero action. If the following icons are on 1 or more cards in play, so this is you only get to count these icons once, not like the previous card. But
Yep.
So for a crisis, deal 3 damage to an enemy. For an amplify, remove 2 threat from a scheme. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's for an acceleration. Let's try that again. Now I'm channeling Dirk. For an acceleration,
I got into your head.
remove 2 threat from a scheme. Amplify, ready an ally you control, and hazard, draw a card.
But now they said but you do get each one of those if you have all 4 of them out.
Right.
But you only get them one time.
Right, and there's a card that has all 4 printed coming.
Yes.
All right, so then the next card.
So we've got Barely a Scratch here. So Barely a Scratch
3
is a
copies.
0-cost event.
3 copies.
There's 3 copies of it, but it's a hero interrupt. And then when you would take any amount of damage from an attack, you can prevent 1 for each of the negative symbols in play. So, I mean, you could potentially prevent a lot of damage with this thing, depending on how your play state, your game board state is at the time.
And now some of the pool cards actually have a meta effect, and this is one of them. It's called Break Time. It costs 3 per player, and it's an alliance because it's an alliance card, max 1 per deck. Alter ego action. So you have to at least be alter ego to trigger it, but take a group break, leave the table, read a comic book. When you come back to the game, heal 1 damage from each identity for every minute you were away from the game. So if people are about ready to die, you could say, hey, let's go have dinner or something.
Yeah. I try to remember we talked about playing this card one time, but I think we turned up not doing it
I've
because
yet never
we
used it.
our normal game group, we play in the evening on a work day. So it's like we can't stay for too long. So I think we turned up not playing it in that game, but we have talked about it.
Yeah. All right.
All right, now this is a cut upper. I know David loves this card. I like this card too, but I think Dave actually likes it a little bit more than I do. But it's a 3-cost event. It's a hero action. You deal 5 damage to an enemy and you stun that enemy. And then what I love about these cards, if you notice, I mean it has like it was an uppercut, but he's changed it to the cut upper because this is his improved version of the card.
Right.
And instead of I think it was a discard on the uppercut, right? Originally,
no, it just does 5 damage.
Oh, just did 5 damage, but then he's added that it stuns, and I love that instead of the what was it? What was the old one? Smack. It does squeak instead.
So this is this product was a team up with Deadpool and Tony, and so Deadpool kind of went nuts, and then Tony had to kind of
rein him in a little.
balance it for the game. So whenever you see a box like that, this is Tony's trying to
trying to
rein
control him a
Deadpool
little bit.
in. Yeah, because if you let Deadpool do whatever he wants, these cards will be even more powerful. All right, so then we have
The bomb.
So this is a 6-cost event, max 1 per deck. Deal 10 damage to the villain. Deal 1 damage to each enemy and hero for each of the bad icons in play.
Yeah. Your teammates might not necessarily appreciate if you play this one, so you probably want to think about the timing of when you do it, but it can be very effective.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Then we got get in front of me instead of get behind me. I love it. So it's a 1-cost event. As a hero interrupt, when a treachery card is revealed from the encounter deck, you can cancel the one reveal effect, and the villain attacks you instead. Now, if an ally or another hero defends this attack, you get to draw a card.
Yeah.
So if you throw somebody in, again, Tony had to limit this to once per deck. But if you throw somebody else in front of that one, you get a card draw out of it. So,
all right. And then we've got, instead of get ready, we got get ragey. Action, ready an ally. That ally gets +1 attack until the end of the phase. You call that a pull-up, Sergeant Deadpool. And again, Tony limited it to once per deck.
Come on, Tony, you're taking all the fun out. All right, then you've got Mulligan. So it's a 3-cost event. You got 3 copies of this in the deck, but you can't play this card if you played another card this phase. So it does have to be the first card you play, but you can discard your hand and draw a new hand up to your hand size. Now, this one can be a little bit tricky to play, but it can be effective, especially, if you've got either a villain that causes you to discard cards or whatever, you can hold on to this one, turn around, play it, you basically get your hand back. Or if you turn up having a hand that is limited, it does have to, fight for a spot in the deck, but depending on how the deck built, this could actually be really effective, especially with the right villain.
All right. Another one of the mock-ups. So Dirk talked about great responsibility earlier. This is the pool version, not my responsibility. So the key thing is got rid of scratched out the word hero. So now you can do this in alter ego.
Yep.
Interrupt.
Well, that's not the only key thing.
Yeah. But when any amount of threat would be placed on a scheme, you or an ally takes it as damage instead. So now you could turn around and do it in alter ego, and you can have just an ally take it.
So if you're not playing Justice, though, you can use it the same way as a great responsibility, or use it for an ally.
Yeah, or like I said, an alter ego. Because great responsibility means you have to be a hero, and then the villain scheme.
Yeah, and so here's the card that Dave mentioned earlier briefly about having all of the symbols on it. And of course, it's a side scheme. So this is one of my favorite cards in this set. But I tend to get funny looks when I play this one because I will play this one as Cable too. I love this card. But it says Victory 0, similar to similar to the rest of the player side schemes. But each identity gets +2 hand size while this is out. And then, however, it does have one of every negative card on there. So great for somebody playing the pool aspect who wants to get the benefit out of that. Not so great for all your teammates necessarily. So, but I love that extra 2 cards. And per player, so a 4-player game, that's 8 cards. Come on.
Okay, then we got some resource cards. So this one is self-control.
I don't have this one.
Max 1 per deck. Double the number of resources this card generates if your identity has sustained less than 5 damage. triple it instead if you have sustained no damage.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a little mix with Deadpool himself because he likes to take the damage to trigger his stuff, but being able to turn this into a triple when you've taken no damage, like when any other hero is playing,
or right after you've used the chimichanga truck.
Yeah. And then there's the strength version and there's an energy version.
Yeah, so I mean and if you notice they've all got different names. So they are all unique cards. So if you happen to be playing somebody like Adam Warlock, who is limited to one per, Adam Warlock can use all three of these.
Yeah, so I did do an Adam Warlock deck where I swapped out one of the aspects with Pool, and yes, I had these three cards in there, and he had a lot of resources.
Yeah, now the negative to that is that Adam Warlock, he gets a bonus if he discards a card of a specific suit. He doesn't get that if he discards a Pool. I have heard some players that have house ruled him to where his fourth one is replaced by whatever the Pool is on his text. We don't do it that way. No. We play it by what the card says. But I have heard people in house rule.
If FFG decides to errata that, then I will use that. But otherwise,
yeah, we have not actually seen an errata for that. But it's an option if you want. If you want. So then we've got the Deadpool core ship. So it is a one-cost support. I love the artwork on this card. I just love that guy. That's the kind of drone Ultron needs right there. And make him to where they're not as bad. But it is a vehicle, so
they smile as
they smile at you. Well, he's not even smiling; he's just looking at you with those big old puppy dog eyes.
Right.
But those.
How could someone as innocent looking as me be harmful?
How bad could I be?
Yeah.
So exhaust Deadpool core ship and deal yourself one face down encounter card. You put a Pool ally into play from your hand. So it means basically a one cost support. You exhaust it, take an encounter, and you get to play an ally for free. And we did notice he's got some spindier allies, so a good way to play them.
All right, then we have Plot Convenience, which is a 2-cost support. Action, exhaust Plot Convenience. Choose. Attach one aspect card from your hand face down here to a maximum of 3. And then the other option is add one card attached face down here to your hand. Any player may trigger this ability. So this is a great way for a lot of those cards that say max 1 per player that would be really useful to play on another player.
Don't get to play on another player normally. Yeah. Because if they don't say it on there, you can't do it.
Right. So if you wanted to, something like even an interrogation room or something, even like it's like, oh, okay, the aggression player is taking out a lot of minions, so I'm going to put an interrogation room in there, and then the aggression player can grab it, and then every time they defeat a minion, they get to remove a threat. Something like that.
Although you've got to be playing something that allows 2 aspects to do that. So you're limited on the characters.
Well, yeah, if you're playing like a 3-player game or something, say.
Well, it does got to be from your hand. Oh no, that's right. Anybody can trigger that. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we got 2 copies of Ambush, which is the 3 copies of Ambush, which is the 1-cost upgrade. See that last one ambushed me, so I didn't know it was there. Yep. But you can attach it to a side scheme, and you can only put 1 per side scheme. But it's an interrupt, so when the attached side scheme is defeated, then you discard a non-elite minion, and it gives you wait, hold on.
This is a real crisis for you.
Yeah, crisis. That's right. I got that on my own with no help whatsoever.
All right. Then we got 2 copies of Bazooka. It's restricted, max 2 per deck. Hero action, attack. Discard Bazooka, deal 1 damage to an enemy for each of the bad icons in play, and the attack gains range.
See, and this is a good one. Like Dave said, you would, because of the restricted limitations or whatever, you would definitely have to put the sidearm in there, side holster in there. But it would work great with the one card that I had. Was the strict card that I had earlier? Where's it at? I don't remember where it's at. The one that allowed you to tap the weapon to deal 5 damage. So if you don't have any symbols out, you can tap the bazooka that way.
Oh.
That card. I forget. I've slept since then. Yeah, no, they're over here. Here they are.
The fuselage.
Yeah, the fuselage. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so then we've got Blackout here, which is 0-cost upgrade. It is a metagame card, and I love the way that metagame is actually a keyword. So as a hero action, you can spend 1 resource of any type, move it 1 threat from the scheme to an empty space above. So, you take your little tokens, markers, or whatever, put it on there, or some kind of marker, But then if all of the spots are filled, then you discard this card to confuse the enemy. But it doesn't, I mean, you can either spend a card, or if you've got something that just generates the resource, you can spend it that way. You don't have to actually discard a card necessarily to do that. But yeah, once you do that 6 times, or is it per
No,
resource on there?
move one threat.
No, spend a resource, move a threat. So
Yeah. And then if all locations above are filled, then you discard it and
Yep.
confuse. And they're the exact size and shape of the threat markers that came with the game. So, all right. Then we
if you're using the threat markers that came with the game.
Yeah. Then we have 3 copies of Distraction. It's a 3-cost upgrade. Attached to a non-elite minion, max 1 per minion. Attached minion cannot activate, and it has a...
It's got an exclamation point on it. It's got a crisis icon on it.
Wow, you remember.
Well, you just told, it's like, okay, my short-term memory does have a slight term.
Okay.
Okay, get good. It's a 2-cost upgrade. So you reduce the cost of get good by 2 if you did not win the previous game of Marvel Champions. So if you play a lot, it can be easy to remember. If you don't, it could be a little bit hard to remember depending on how often you play. But we play enough that we don't tend to forget this.
It also depends on how often you lose or win. So
if you don't talk about that,
if you lose a lot, then this card
it becomes better. Yeah, I guess. But as a forced interrupt, when a player would be defeated, then they can set their hit point dial to 0 and change to their alter ego form instead, and then you remove this card from the game. So it is a one-shot. But if you lost your last game and somebody's playing the pool aspect, yeah, they should probably throw that in there. It gives you an extra. Basically, it gives Deadpool's ability to any character 1 time.
All right. Then we have 3 copies of a 3-cost upgrade Healing Factor, max 1 per player. It's a superpower. After the player phase begins, exhaust Healing Factor, heal 2 damage for my identity. This is actually a great card for plot convenience.
Yes.
Because it's a way to get some healing to the other players.
Yep, because they're not restricted on whether or not they have that aspect that they're playing. It's just whether or not they can play it. So that is one thing, and we've definitely used that. And I would honestly say probably behind X-Pack, that's one of my favorite cards in the game. And I love the fact that you do have a way. I mean, iPack. What did I say?
X-Pack.
iPack. That's one of my favorite cards. I know what it does. That's the important part. But no, it's got to be one of my favorite cards of the game. So I mean, I love it. And Deadpool himself can play my 2 favorite cards in the game, or any X-Force character. So now we've got Laser Swords. It counts as 2 restricted cards. It's a 3-cost upgrade. It's a weapon, and you got maximum 1 per deck. But you get +1 attack for each of the negative symbols in play, up to a maximum of 4. So if you've got any combination. Or no, for each symbol in play. Yeah. Any combination that adds up to 4, you can take full advantage of that.
Okay. Then we have another meta game, Rock, Paper, Scissors. It's a 1-cost upgrade. Hero action. Exhaust this card. Choose 1 card in your hand and discard the top card of your deck. Using the diagram above, if a printed resource on the chosen card beats the resources on the discarded card, add the discarded card to your hand.
And you notice wild beats everything.
Right.
So.
Except for itself.
Okay, so we've got another one of the Deadpool custom upgrades here. So it's 2-cost upgrade. It's stick-to-itiveness instead of tenacity. But it is you spend a strength resource and you exhaust this card instead of discarding it to ready your hero. And it's acquiesce. I don't know the meaning of the word.
Yeah, but what about Deadpool?
Deadpool said that.
Oh,
I actually know what acquiesce means. And of course, they had to step in and limit that to once per player, 1 per deck.
All right, and then we have another meta game here, tic-tac-toe. Spend 1 resource of any type. Move 1 damage from a character to an empty space above, matching the spent resource. If there are 3 damage tokens in a line, deal all damage on this card to an enemy and discard this card. I think we figured out you can get like a 7 max or something.
Yeah, I think the 7th one is the one that's going to trigger it. I believe if we counted it right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
The final card.
Final card is War. So it's also a metagame. And you remember the old card game War that you probably played as a kid? Well, now you can play it again as an adult in Marvel Champions.
against Juggernaut.
Yeah, against Juggernaut. Yay! But it is a 1-cost upgrade. So as a hero action, you can exhaust war. You discard the top card of the encounter deck, and you take 1 damage for each icon in the boost area of that card. Then you discard the top card of your deck, and the enemy takes damage equal to that card's cost. So if you built an expensive deck, you can get a lot of you can get a lot of mileage out of this card. But if you're building a thin, fast deck, which I tend to try to do, you don't get as much use out of this. So this isn't one I've played a lot of. I've thought about trying to build a deck around it to kind of maximize it, but it's like, I haven't done it yet, but I should probably do that.
So
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that.
So like Maria Pool, because you got those 6-cost helicarriers.
Yeah.
See, that would be a good one.
I might try that.
Maria Pool. All right.
That would be a great card for me to play it with. I'm going to do that. When Maria comes out, I'm going to build a Maria Pool deck.
Okay.
I'll play it on the channel for you.
So that was the Deadpool Hero review and the
pool aspect.
The pool aspect. So hope you enjoyed that. This is also the final hero from the next evolution wave. So the next grouping of heroes we're going to do will be from the Mutant Genesis. So, and we still have Magneto to get to as well. So he'll fall in.
I still got one more deck I need to play before we're ready to do
So
that.
we'll probably do Magneto next, and then we'll jump to Shadowcat or Colossus, and then go through the Mutant Genesis. And that was an extra large wave because we had 2 extra heroes. We had Cyclops and Phoenix, and then so we had 6 heroes instead of just the standard 4.
Ooh, we could do my Cyclops, my
So
Scott deck.
8 heroes total.
Yeah, I'll do my Scott deck.
So yeah, so that's the next wave will be Mutant Genesis, and Magneto will be thrown in it probably next. All right. Well, with that, again, thank you for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe.